What's your F this? I quit. Story. After taking a few days off work while my father was having a brain tumor removed, and still checking emails and attending conference calls from the hospital, my boss gave me a new project. On a Thursday afternoon she gave me a Monday morning deadline for a project that would take 6-8 days to complete. I worked 16 hours a day to get it done. When we met on Monday she asked how my weekend was. I worked all weekend. Then she asked if I got to visit my dad in the hospital. No, I didn't get a chance because I worked all weekend. A couple weeks later she pulled me into a meeting and said, I feel like you were resentful because you had to work, and I feel like I was really good when your dad was sick. Maybe you're just tired. Are you tired? She'd also make comments when I would leave the office on time. Not early, on time. It's great that you just get up and go when your day is over. Like I have to go because I have a daughter, but you don't have any kids and you just leave at the end of the day. Yeah, bitch, I don't live here. I don't go home and sit in a dark room counting the hours until I get to come back here. I'm also not curing cancer. Nothing we do here matters to anyone outside of here. I give you 100% when I'm here, but when my day is done, it's effing done. I no longer work there. Started my first job at 15 as a dishwasher for a friend's family's new Korean restaurant. They were my neighbors. My typical workday was 4 p.m. 9 p.m. on the clock. Afterwards I was expected to stay and help close shop, and instead of getting paid for those extra 3 hours I was given a meal for compensation. To be fair, there are laws prohibiting minors from working too long or too late, and honestly I didn't mind it as the food was incredible. After about a year, I'm now 16, and due to the minimal wait staff I was expected to work as a waiter, busboy in between dishes. Fair enough. I was getting sick of the same old anyways, so I came in during the week to start training, and since they knew I was already familiar the menu and whatnot, I wasn't a shadow, I was just on my own and winging it. I made a mistake, not remembering soup or salad, so I went back upstairs to ask, and when I returned with my answer I was insulted by my manager for not taking this seriously enough. Alright, a couple months go by and I'm waiting tables and dishwashing all while being micromanaged by my manager. Well, one weekend a Mardi Gras parade was being held downtown where the restaurant is located, so it'd easily be one of our busiest days that year. I was scheduled for 4 p.m. 10 p.m. but they asked if I'd come in that morning around 8 or so. About an hour or two into my new shift there was a mountain of dishes I was being expected to maintain while also waiting tables. My manager walks into the back where I am and the dialogue goes like this. What are you doing? Washing dishes. Go ask table 6 if they need refills. Yes ma'am. I walk out the back into the front of the store while she's tailgating me and pick up the pitcher of water. As I pick it up she asks, do you even know what you're doing? At this point I'm pretty fed up and kindly respond with, yeah, I know how to pour water. She didn't like that and told me that I need to look at her with respect and that if I didn't like it here I should just leave. So I left them with mountains of dishes and thirsty customers. Know your worth. Working at a tech support call center, I put in for a day off for my birthday a month in advance. Boss forgot to process my request and said I couldn't get it off when I asked about it closer to the date, saying something about time off requests being locked due to upcoming trainings. Those trainings were 2 weeks after my birthday. I used to work at a bowling alley in the cafe kitchen when I was like 19. One particular night, I was the only one in the kitchen during a slammed rush. I get everything out, somehow, in a timely manner, clean the kitchen, then go it for a smoke. The GM walks out a minute later and proceeds to ream me, telling me I'm a lazy no good piece of shit, etc., etc. I finish my smoke, go back in, pull off my uniform shirt and name tag, set it on the cafe counter and walk out the front door without a word. F you, Paul. I interviewed for a corporate accounting role because public accounting was much less pay, and a lot more hours. Was told in the interview that it was show up between 8-9, leave between 4-5, there'd be no more working late nights, or having to work on weekends, which was great. I took the job, and within 2 months I realized they were lying through their teeth. First off, there was absolutely no training on their processes. I was given enough work for 3 people, with no direction on how to do it. My manager was so scatterbrained, he could never give me any help when I asked. No one talked for 8 hours a day, and it was just an unbelievably bad work culture. I'd get to work usually at 8:30, and leave at 4:30 while eating lunch at my desk. I came in one day and was told, since you're leaving so early, I can only hope you're working from home. Then the next week, we're told we have to come in for a full day Saturday because we had New Year's Day off that Monday. My final straw was when I left at 2:30 one day for a doctor's appointment. When I came in the next day, my manager pulled me into a room and said that I didn't have enough accrued PTO to do that, and he was going to dock my pay, in a salaried position. Went in the next day, told him it wasn't working out and put my 2 weeks in. On my last day, he told me I could leave at 11:30, so I did. When I got my final paycheck, he docked my pay for the remainder of that day. Luckily, the recruiter who got me the job followed up to ask what happened, and I was completely open and honest with her. Apparently, that manager has a very high turnover rate for the position I was in, and the recruiter told me that the CFO is looking into replacing him. I was in the same position for 2 years and was actively looking at other positions within the same company. Bosses knew about it. It was just time for a change and to advance my career. Great opportunity came up and I was offered the position. However, my current leadership blocked me because I received a promotion 6 months prior. That promotion was literally an automatic email that said, "Congrats, you're now level 2 instead of level 1," because I had met my sales attainment and completed all my yearly trainings. Literally an automated email stopped me from getting promoted, and bosses said I had to wait another 18 months. Left that company and went to a competitor doing the same thing for better pay and significantly more support. I was working in a particular role for a small charity. It was already a busy role, but then due to changes within the company my role got ridiculous. I was the senior manager looking after the budgets and accounts and acting as an accountant, so suddenly had to teach myself all about charity tax law, which is not easy. I was managing marketing, media, communications, strategic implementation, a reception and all customer service, a physical and online shop, 10 members of staff, legal compliance including insurance and data protection, health and safety, HR, reporting and end-of-year audits, preparing papers for and attending trustee meetings, procurement as well as general meetings, to the point where my job had gone way beyond my real job description anymore. Anyway, despite all the extra responsibilities, my boss still expected me to have time to do everything to an extremely high standard and couldn't possibly understand there would be any reason that I was overwhelmed apart from me being shit. Strange how everyone in that place also complained about being overworked, and that at one point the staff were going to go to the trustee board to see if they could get him replaced. It was always everyone else's fault. He sat me down at my 12-month probation meeting and said that I wasn't doing well enough to be given the job permanently, so he wanted to extend my probation by another 3 months, in which time he must see improvements. And what did I think I needed to improve? I said that I had been telling him for months what I needed to improve, which was for him to take the fact that everyone was overworked seriously and his expectations of what a human being could achieve were ridiculous at best, which was apparently never going to happen, so I quit. He said he didn't want that, I said I did, and just quit. It had been on my mind for a while, but that pushed me over the edge. A part of me wanted to stay, to go to the probation hearing and let everyone in HR know exactly what he was like, but I was just so done with the whole thing. Best decision ever. I now have an amazing job I love for a different charity that actually values what I do, and it feels great. My boss had my crew and I cut corners on the job. I was fairly new to the position and took what he said as the way it was supposed to get done. Inspectors then came and checked the job because of an unrelated screw-up by another company and in turn found out what we had done. Boss then blamed the whole thing on me and denied he ever told me to do it. It was done. Spent the next 2 days replacing all previous work to the way it should have been. Boss then told me that he was not going to pay me for the days of work. 14 hours each day because I was fixing my F-ups. All the while during the 2 days getting called a effing idiot and a liar. F you. I quit. Short story. Boss tried to cut corners, got caught, blamed it on me, then refused to pay me to fix it to try and recoup some of the losses he took. I quit. I was a new sous chef at a country club. Chef wouldn't let anyone but himself do the ordering. His ordering method was to go over a sheet of paper hanging on the line where people wrote down what we were out of. Not what we were nearly out of, but what we were completely out of. Anytime I'd try to add items that we were close to out of on, he'd lose his shit. We were constantly out of things. One day, we had a huge Easter breakfast event. Dipshit chef didn't order near enough eggs and we were out of all sorts of other random items. I was out front making omelets for members. Ran out of eggs and stood around for 15 minutes waiting for more while the members became increasingly frustrated then angry. Went to the back to see chef yucking it up with the FA manager. Handed him my apron and told him to pound sand. Was at that job for less than 2 weeks. Waitressing at a small cafe. Owner was also the manager, cook. One day, we were in the weeds, getting thrown around left and right, and finally when it slows down, the other line cook messed up, so the owner, who already had several screaming meltdowns, picks up a plate and throws it right at the server alley. It broke on the wall near my head, so I took off my apron and waddled my pregnant ass on home. F that, it closed a few weeks ago, which wasn't surprising. Arrived at the bar to work my shift only to discover that the owners had sacked my manager because there was, in their view, too much wastage. At the time, he was recovering from major surgery on his arm. He had 3 young children and an 8 months pregnant wife. They thought they were losing money because not every drop of beer poured went into somebody's drink, which is just a fact of life in a bar, and not because their idle Touareg son, brother, father/son owner duo kept coming in with his mates and demanding we give them drinks they didn't have to pay for. Quit on the spot. Went to the manager's son's christening a while later. A year or 2 after that was told the bailiffs had come to visit the bar and left with quite a lot of furniture. Couldn't have happened to bigger seas.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.